Meghan Markle has officially become a global laughingstock. Just when we thought she couldn't go any lower, boom, there she goes. She pulls out the unthinkable and turns herself into a literal jest. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if this is Hollywood hazing her. Like, this is her initiation. Because with all the new hires and the Netflix rollout, the public stunts, none of it is hitting. And while everyone is still recovering from the delivery room twerkathon, I want to shift the focus because there are two videos out here floating around the internet that are way more disturbing. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, I'm Star Chairs, and on this channel, we analyze videos through the lens of PR. Today's coffee is generally sponsored by two of my amazing viewers, Jillian and Jenny. If I mispronounce it, I am so sorry. But thank you ladies so much. These are the ladies that did it the past 2 times, and I wanted to bring them up because I made new graphics. You see them? Now, if you want your name featured on the screen in the next video, you can do so by sponsoring my next drink at buymecoffee.com, the link below. Cheers to you both, and let's get started. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to watch 2 videos back to back because I love being able to put them together and have context before we even make up our minds. The first one is going to be Meghan speaking at South by Southwest, and then we're going to go to the Brooke Shields interview on what she said, and then we're going to put them together, and you're going to, oh my gosh, you're going to see what Brooke Shields is talking about because the difference, the energy, it's night and day. All right, so this is Meghan at South by Southwest,
where people feel as though they have a seat.
Which, by the way, they turned off the comments. Hilarious. All right, okay, let's focus. This is serious, okay?
The table, as they should.
Meghan, will you tell the story about when you wrote that letter to P&G? Because I don't know if everyone's heard it, but it's such a great story at a very young age, what you did.
Look at her face. Look at her face.
I was disrupted the flow. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's good.
Go ahead.
Have a conversation. That's what I love about interviewing Katie. I think it's okay.
Look at her. She's so happy. She's like, you want to hear from me? The story that I already told 1,000 times and nobody can prove that it's wrong or that it didn't happen? Of course, yes, that's what I want. This was her flying color story. She loves it. So she talks for about a minute.
I was 11 years old, about 11 years old, and I had seen a commercial on TV.
Let's count how many times she says she is 11 years old. All right, because this is important for the next video where Brooke Shields says something. If you don't mind, I'm going to put it at 1.25. just because so we can get through it a little bit faster.
For a dishwashing liquid, and the boys in my class at the time said, it said, women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans. And the boys said, yeah, that women belong in the kitchen. And at 11, I just found that infuriating and wrote lots of letters and put pen to paper, and they ended up changing the commercial to people all over America. And, it's funny to look back at it now because that was before social media where you had a reach that was so much greater. It was just an 11-year-old with a pen and paper. But it just, I guess, goes to show that if you know that there's something wrong and you're using your voice to advocate in the direction of what is right, that can really land and resonate and make huge change for a lot of people. So your voice is not small. It just needs to be heard. Yeah, this is where we're...
Okay, so she said 11 years old, that she was 11 years old 2 times. And then Brooke Shields kind of like, this is where we're different. Watch. You need to see this. You need to.
This is one of the ways where we're different. When I was 11, I was playing a prostitute.
Oh my goodness, that does not get old. I love it. I'm gonna put it on normal just because it's good.
So okay, Brooke.
I wish I'd known where we're going here. When I was 11,
different.
I would have been writing very different letters, but equally important, I hope.
Wow. All right. So if you notice there. Watch, let me go ahead and put it back over here. Meghan's like, oh my goodness, yes, I'll tell you the story. Everybody pay attention to me. But the audience
can really land and resonate and make huge change for a lot of people.
The audience is not vibing with her whatsoever.
Yeah, this is where we're
and this is where it changed. The energy shifts. Watch.
This is one of the ways where we're different. When I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. So okay, Brooke. I wish I'd known you were going here. When I was
A little
11.
different.
I would have been writing very different letters, but equally important, I hope. Wow. 11 years.
Look at Megan's face. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that while I was speaking. She's not happy.
Girl Brooke and 11-year-old Meghan, this one's for you.
All right, so now we're going to go to the actual Brooke Shields video where she's speaking about why she did this. Okay, I do apologize because it is on my timeline already, but let's go ahead.
So she starts talking and telling a story about how when she was 11, and she keeps saying, well, when I was 11, I saw this commercial and they were talking about washing dishes and only soap for washing dishes was for women. And she said, I didn't think only women washed it because it wasn't there. So I wrote to the company. And when I was 11, I wrote my first letter, and then I was 11, and she kept saying she was 11. She writes to the company, they changed the text, they changed the commercial. And I go, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I just interrupted you there for 1 minute. I was trying not to be rude, but I wanted to be funny because it was so serious. And I go, I just want to give everybody here a context as to how we're different. I said, well, when I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. The place went insane. And then left.
Exactly. And we saw that in the video where the people did act very differently. Here, let me bring it back up.
Speaking of which, equally,
It just needs to be heard.
yeah, this is where we're this is one of the ways where we're different. When I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. So okay, Brooke. I wish I'd known you were going.
I mean, the audience shifted immediately. It made the shift, the energy change. It felt better. It felt like you're no longer in a meeting. And I hate having to go to seminars and stuff like that. And it just feels like work. And I think this is exactly why Brooke said, you know what, I'm going to do something. I'm just going to try to make the room a little bit less heavy and more lighter. And she did. She succeeded. But it's so funny that it took about a year, 2024, it took a year for her to feel comfortable to come and say it. Because even when she started this right here, she said, oh, I'm going to get so much hate. No, Miss Shields, we love you for this. Absolutely. Let me see if there's anything else. Hold on.
Because it was so serious. And I just want to give everybody here a context as to how we're different. I said, well, when I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. The place went insane. And then luckily, it was more relaxed after that. And I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't think I'm rude. I'm not being rude. I was just I think it's genius. It was just too precious.
I love this because she continues saying it was just too precious. No, it wasn't precious. I think what the word she wanted to use, it's kind of like what the words they use in the South. Oh, bless you, dear. Oh, God bless your heart, or whatever. You know, people do that in order to kind of give you the cold shoulder or to be nice, mean. And this is what Brooke is doing, in my opinion. If you guys think differently, let me know. Let me go ahead and play it because I just think it's hilarious. She's like, it was precious. Yeah, there was nothing precious about it. The room was heavy and it was to business, and you wanted to lighten the mood. We get it. We respect it.
And I was like, no, I want to sit here for 45 minutes and listen to anybody be precious, like, or serious or then let you know on this pod.
All right, so this is the first two videos I wanted for you guys to see, because Brooke Shields does it so beautifully. She's like, I know I'm gonna get hate for this, or I hope I don't get hate for this, but I just need to say it. Like I need to tell someone, and she did. She told all of us, so thank you. But she wasn't rude about it. She just pretty much told us what we already kind of knew, but she confirmed it for us. Where Meghan takes herself way too seriously. She wants everything to be perfect. She wants to be taken seriously. But Brooke's like, you don't have to. Just be honest, be authentic. And that was Brooke's way of saying, just be authentic, Meghan. Like, you're being too much of a stickler. Like, so Brooke, she led by example. But Meghan, she did not get it. And she was like, right over her head. All right, so let's go to the next one, because the next video is a little bit darker. This was heavy, but the next one is a little bit heavier. All right, so this is Lila Rose. Lila, and she's all about Christianity and bringing the darkness to light so people can open their eyes. But I wanted to bring this to you guys because they talk about, she opens up and says about Harry's book. Listen, trust me, listen. Also, she's talking to an ex-psychic, okay? So this ex-psychic came to God and she's explaining, you know, everything, why she left, and she's explaining that psychic, medium, tarot cards are all demons. It's all witchcraft. But she would never call herself that. So I want you to watch this.
There was a news story not too long ago. There's lots of news stories, obviously, about the royal family, you know, British royal family. Prince Harry contacted Princess Diana through psychic who claimed to have powers. And this was a famous story. I think it came out in the Oprah interview that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle did, but just talked about how the psychic told him that Diana feels your confusion, understood he has so many questions, the answers would come in time. And then there was something about a Christmas ornament. Harry recounts being told, this was in the book that Prince Harry published about his life. Harry recounts being told that his mother's spirit had witnessed his son, Prince Archie, breaking a Christmas tree ornament shaped like the late Queen Elizabeth. The psychic reportedly questioned the Duke about the broken ornament, to which he confessed his son was trying to repair. The medium then suggested that Diana had found amusement in the incident as she watched her grandson, whom she had never met, reports the Daily Record.
Ugh. That is so demonic. Obviously, it's demonic, but let me explain what happened there.
Tell me what happened.
So,
as a professional former psychic.
You got it. So, of course, what you're doing is you're channeling. You've entered into divination already, so now you've got demonic communication. Demons can only report accurately what they've seen already. The rest of it, the future stuff, is just prediction. They saw that ornament break. That had already happened. That's past information. So they can report that with 100% accuracy. And you need that information in that reading, Lila, because I mentioned the hook. There has to be a hook. There has to be something that now 99% of the reading could be completely something that you don't understand. But that part was true. How could you have known that? How could you have known that? How could you have reported this? There has to be that accurate piece of information, and there will be when you're dealing with somebody who's not a charlatan, when you're dealing with somebody who's a true psychic. And that sounds exactly like what happened there.
So, but in this case, what you're saying is the demon knew that the ornament had broken. They saw it because demons have access to the physical realm. They can see things. They don't have eternal knowledge. You know, they're not omniscient or omnipresent, but they can roam around and see stuff. And they got access to that piece of information. And then did they lie to the psychic and tell the psychic, yeah, Princess Diana is saying she saw it too. And they invent a story. They invent a story that then the psychic tells, whether they believe it sincerely or not. They tell the story. Maybe they sincerely believe it. Yeah, this is sincerely what's happening. The psychic is deceived too. And the psychic passes on the information.
1,000,000%. That's how the enemy operates, in half-truths. So you've got that one thing that I hate even calling it true, but is accurate. You have that one piece of information, and then the rest is a lie.
Now, I think this video is important because when grief meets glamour, especially when you're living in Hollywood, you're surrounded by yes men with crystals and sage. So what happens to the truth? Exactly that. Prince Harry says that he talked to his dead mother through a psychic and no one blinked. Jenn left the new age world, I don't remember, I think 20 years ago or such. And now she speaks about the dangers of tarot cards, crystals, sage, and the light and love trends that get sold as healing, especially in Hollywood. And when Lila brought up exactly what was in Harry's book, Jenn didn't mince any words. She called it 100% demonic manipulation. Now, she explained this, and this is why I wanted to watch the video with you guys, because she not only called it, but she explains it. She explained that these spirits are not the dead, but demons who mimic human knowledge. They give us just enough truth to hook you in and steer you off course. Let that sink in, because we are seeing this with Harry. We're watching it in real time. A man in pain, guided by not healing, but deception. Now let's look at this through the lens of PR, because Prince Harry is not a private citizen. He's not just grieving in silence. He's monetizing. Him and his wife are monetizing and packaging trauma and selling emotional confusion to the public under a banner of healing. And he always talks about mental health while simultaneously endorsing psychics, drugs, and psychedelic therapy. And the media applauds this because, let's be honest, Hollywood doesn't care how you feel. as long as it sells. So if we zoom into everything that he's talked about and admitted to drug use, not just recreational one, but part as spiritual healing and exploration. And also, he's deeply angry at his family, the press, and often it seems like the world. He's confessed that he's lost, and he's now turning to spiritual forces that he knows nothing about, that Jenn explained is not God. They're demons. This isn't healing, and he shouldn't be the poster boy for healing. This is spiritual confusion. And in the city of Los Angeles, where everything is curated, staged, monetized, it is no surprise that darkness gets repackaged as enlightenment. And we cannot ignore the PR spin here anymore, because Jamie Kern-Lima did it on her podcast where she's like, oh, my friend is the biggest Catholic and she goes to psychics. Like, no, they're trying to manipulate us. Harry is being used either by Hollywood or by the handlers or by the forces that we don't understand. And now he's selling the name of confusion as the path to wholeness and wellness. Now listen, this is not me trying to fearmonger anyone. This is about discernment. You don't need to believe in demons to understand that some doors should never be open, and that not all advice is good advice. And also, when you mix unresolved trauma with money, media, attention, and spiritual exploration, you can get something very unstable, and we're watching it with Harry and Meghan. And honestly, Harry is just the latest example of what happens when grief meets misguided spotlight. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching. I know this was a little bit different, but I really thought it needed a spotlight on it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.